And that ad really is about Ron DeSantis is a small little boy who needs me, and I own him.
When you watch those two ads back to back, it's very obvious to not a political ad expert who is making a more compelling, powerful argument.
Welcome to Political Experts React, where we break down political ads and media, explain what the people behind them are trying to accomplish, and decide whether or not they did a good job. I'm Dan Pfeiffer, former communications director for Barack Obama. Joining me today is former Republican strategist and co-host of the Next Level podcast, which you can watch right here on YouTube, Tim Miller. Tim Miller, welcome back to Political Experts React. You have worn your Denver Nuggets hat. You have a hot basketball take you would like to offer. Please offer it.
Well, it is good to be back, Dan. I'm grateful for you to have me. And I just want to congratulate you sincerely on the first sympathy MVP in the history of the NBA. I mean, it's a participation trophy society now. I'm a lib now, I've crossed over and everyone gets a trophy. I think that's nice.
All right, let's get into the real business here since both of our teams could be eliminated by the time this airs. Okay, the first ad we're going to watch is from a pro-Ron DeSantis Super PAC called Never Back Down.
When the world lost its mind, when common sense suddenly became an uncommon virtue, Florida was a citadel of freedom for our fellow Americans. Our rights are not granted by the courtesy of the state, but are endowed by the hand of the Almighty. We will never surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die. We insist on the restoration of time-tested constitutional principles so that government of, by, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. We, the people, are not destined for failure.
I don't care what corporate media outlets say. I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what big corporations say.
Decline is a choice, and freedom is worth fighting for. We will stand firm in the faith. We will be courageous.
Here I stand. I'm not backing down.
Never Back Down Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now, if you listen to liberal podcasts like Pod Save America, one strain of argument you hear all the time is that the best argument against Trump is one of electability. That he's a loser, can't beat sleepy Joe Biden, cost the Republicans the Senate in 2022, and will cost them everything in 2024. Do you agree that that is a good argument to make against Trump? And what do you think of how this DeSantis group prosecutes that argument?
I do think it's a good argument against Trump, but it has its flaws. It's like this... I'm trying to be cute. We're trying to be clever. You can see in the background, there's a New York Post headline, about how they used to like Trump and now they like me. I'm trying to imply that it's time to move on from Trump. We're doing the sticker thing. It comes off as very politician-y.
This ad is just like textbook fine. Like it's very Super PAC-y. It's very
clip art.
Yeah, things don't make sense. Like, why is that guy carrying the phone watching DeSantis? Like, why was that necessary?
Why are these libs with their, metrosexual haircuts watching DeSantis in the kitchen? Like, shouldn't it be Republicans watching him?
He's got broad appeal. That's right. I have no idea. This is one of the flaws I see in the argument is it's hard to say the other person's going to lose when they're beating you, right? And right now, DeSantis, his problem is he doesn't look like a winner because he keeps losing to the guy he says can't win. It's hard to get the persona of a winner when you're not winning, and that it seems to be DeSantis' biggest challenge here.
I think that he and anybody who wants to do this is really hamstrung by a central reality of like the cultishness of the Republican base right now. So here's the problem, right? The people who DeSantis needs to win over are people who like Trump but are persuadable, right? Like that's the big middle of the party. And once you start going hard at Trump over his loserness, then you start to sound like a never Trumper, sound like a lib. You sound like you're on Pod Save America or the Bulwark. Now, if you go the other route and do this kind of really milquetoast, read between the lines, kind of stuff that you saw in this ad, where you're kind of attacking Trump but not really, you run into the problem of, well, now Donald Trump dominates you. What DeSantis is doing now is what everybody did, which is like, I'm going to criticize him subtly. I'm going to imply that he's not going to be electable. And then when my numbers get really bad, I'm going to go hard at him. And, that's why in 2016, like basically everyone's speech before their concession speech was the Donald Trump's going to ruin America speech. Bobby Schindel did it. Perry did it. Cruz did it. Marco Rubio said he had a small dick, right? Like, once it got desperate, they all went there. But it was too late, right? And so DeSantis really, I think, kind of needed to make that argument from an area of strength, but he had convinced himself that it was best to kind of hide in the bushes for 6 months. Well, now he's been hiding in the bushes for 6 months, and as we'll see in the next ad, Trump is eviscerating him.
All right, that's a good segue to the next ad, which is from Donald Trump's campaign.
Ron DeSantis was struggling big time in his primary race for governor of Florida. Polls revealed DeSantis was failing so bad, he was losing by a staggering 17 points. Then DeSantis was saved by the endorsement of President Trump. Trump's support was so powerful, just 2 days after the endorsement, DeSantis took a commanding lead, and it propelled him to being elected governor.
I'd like to thank our president for standing by me when it wasn't necessarily the smart thing to do.
You're welcome, Ron. Unfortunately, instead of being grateful, DeSantis is now attacking the very man who saved his career. Isn't it time DeSantis remembers how he got to where he is?
Make America great again.
Big league. So good.
Build the wall. Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
Truth is, there's only one person who can make America great again.
I mean, that's really a tour de force. What's your analysis of it?
I want Trump to lose more than anything, okay? Just getting that out clear before I say my next thing. That ad is great. Just went right at the heart of the DeSantis argument. He's not a winner, actually. Trump is a winner. DeSantis begged Trump to help him, to save him, right? And so you watch that and you see how DeSantis sucked up to Trump so shamelessly in 2018. Even DeSantis in his own words says that it wasn't smart to support DeSantis, but Trump did it anyway. Man, when you watch those two ads back to back, it's very obvious to not a political ad expert, like who is making a more compelling, powerful argument.
I also don't want to compliment Trump. That gets me in trouble with literally everyone I know. But okay. He truly understands power dynamics. And that ad really is about Ron DeSantis is a small little boy who needs me, and I own him. Right? He gets that. He always gets it. It's how he managed Congress. It's how he has treated Kevin McCarthy. He makes him pick out his starbursts for him. The reason he said he wasn't going to do these debates is because, and he said it out loud, debates are for people who are losing and I'm winning. Why would I debate? Which is strategically 100% correct.
Yeah. But
in this case, there's also this idea that DeSantis is following, which is you don't say your opponent's name. You just get all the downside and none of the upside. And that shows like a strength disparity between the two. DeSantis looks like a wuss. And Trump looks like he could beat him up. And strength matters a lot in politics, and it really seems to matter in Republican primary politics.
And the thing is, unfortunately, for DeSantis and for anybody going against Trump, is they can't say what they really think about Trump, right? Because as soon as they do, they're going to reveal themselves to be on the outside of this kind of MAGA culture. And so, Trump kind of has them by the balls in this situation where he can go all the way, not to 11, go to 80, on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much you can attack somebody, while DeSantis is down there doing normal Super PAC style ad stuff written by professionals in DC, that's like a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. And that's just, that is an imbalance that is going to be very hard for him to bridge.
As longtime viewers of this video series know, I'm willing to do almost anything to get people to quote-unquote smash that subscribe button. But I've hit my limit. There is a level to which I will not stoop. And I will tell you what that level is. I'm now going to read to you the copy that was provided to me today. These are not my words. These are the words of our very able producers. Here we go. With the NBA playoffs heating up, it's clear that strategy, teamwork, and leadership are crucial to success. And the same can be said about politics, where every campaign is essentially a battle for votes. So if ready to take your political analysis game to the next level, smash that subscribe button. Now, you know me. You know that's a thing I would never say. I could not do that without some sense of irony or self-hatred. But I wanted to just pull the curtain back so you could see what I deal with every day as I try to bring you this video series. The last ad we're going to watch is from your former employers from a long time ago, the Republican National Committee.
It's been a decade now.
Yeah.
I know I look young, but it has been a while.
This is the ad they put out in response to President Biden's announcement that he was running for re-election.
This just in, we can now call the 2024 presidential race for Joe Biden.
My fellow Americans.
This morning, an emboldened China invades Taiwan.
Financial markets are in free fall as 500 regional banks have shuttered their doors.
Border agents were overrun by a surge of 80,000 illegals yesterday evening.
Officials closed the city of San Francisco this morning, citing the escalating crime and fentanyl crisis.
Who's in charge here? It feels like the train is coming off the tracks.
One notable thing about this ad, for those viewers who did not catch it when it came out, is that all the images were generated with artificial intelligence. That got a ton of attention. A lot of people very concerned about it. Do you have any reaction or care at all that they used AI-powered image generation to make these images?
I mean, no, I guess it got them some earned media for the ad, so maybe there's a small ball, kudos for that to the press person there. But I mean, it'd be different if they were doing AI images that were, like your friend Tommy likes to do, compelling AI Joe Biden audio. I would feel differently if it was something like that. But doing these like images created by computers, is that really any worse than using just stock photos of old border crossing? I don't really think so. So no, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me about the AI thing is less about like kind of on getting on the moral high horse about whether AI should be used in political ads or whether that's misinformation or not. Is like, just from a strategic perspective of the ad, it's like Joe Biden is the president, right? Like you can imagine a scenario where it would make sense to use artificial intelligence to hypothesize what the world might look like if a president comes into power in the future. But Joe Biden is the president now. And to me, it was a signal of weakness of the arguments they feel like they have against Joe Biden, that they have to create this hypothetical dystopian future using robots, rather than having their first ad against his reelection campaign be a strong argument against what is actually happening in Joe Biden's America in the real world right now. So to me, that was the weakness of the ad.
My biggest beef with the ad is it suffers from what a lot of the Republican ads that we have looked at on this show suffer from, which is the people who are making the ads have consumed too much MAGA media. It's like they don't understand how most voters, the ones they need, see the world. People are concerned about the border. They don't think the border is gone, right? They're concerned about crime. They don't think San Francisco has been closed like some sort of Escape from New York spinoff. Like that's not a relatable argument to people. And so this is a continual theme and analysis of a lot of Republican ads, particularly the ones in the midterms, done by the Walker people or the Oz people or the Kerry Lake people. They don't live in the world that the voters they need live in.
The type of people that are college educated, are skilled at advertising, that we used to recruit at the RNC, many of them don't want to go work at the RNC and eat Donald Trump's shit sandwiches right now. A lot of those people are just checking out. They're going to take other jobs. So who is opting in? It is true believers, like real MAGA true believers, or C and D list talent that like wouldn't have had, the top job or even close to the top job in a democratic world where the competition is so high for these jobs, right? And there are a lot of people that want them. And so I do think that you're seeing this, become increasingly a problem in Republican circles where they're circling their own navel, because those are the types of folks that are willing to take these jobs right now.
Shitty ad, poor use of AI, bad execution. What do you think about the argument that it's trying to make, which is essentially that Biden is not up to the task? Is that the Republicans' best argument, you think?
Is it their best argument? I don't know. I think that we'll see where the world lands in a year, because I think a lot of that is a little bit out of Biden's hand as due to events. I think that no matter what any of us personally think, and I think that Biden has demonstrated competence, he just physically looks and feels like, that gives people pause. It gives people pause. So like if there's a big crisis, the old, Hillary Clinton phone ad that never worked against Obama, it didn't land against Obama for reasons, because Obama seems smart and competent. And it was like, why would anybody not think that Obama could handle a 3 a.m. call? Like most of the Democratic primary voters felt like he could handle a 3 a.m. call. Are there swing voters out there who are going to be worried about whether Biden is up for a crisis, who have concerns about Kamala Harris, if there are compounding issues that we see at the border, that we see in the economy? I do think that that's going to be a message that that is potentially compelling for Republicans, but maybe quite a bit less compelling if Donald Trump is on the other
That's
side.
what I was going to say. You need somewhere to go, right?
Yeah,
and
you need somewhere to go.
It also helps that Trump, even though people think he's younger because he gives off an image that, I mean, he works like 3 hours a day, needs a lot of Big Macs, but he gives off an image of like more energy, I think. He tries to do that, or vigor, but he still is only 4 years younger than Biden. And you can even see in this ad, they can't use age because Trump could be the nominee. And also, as we try to say all the time on both of our podcasts and various platforms, it's on the razor's edge anyway, right? Like just even with everything happened last time, it only takes 20,000 votes in this state, 20,000 votes in that state, and you have a different result.
And I hate that.
Perfect. All right, Tim Miller, thanks for joining us.
Dan, anytime, brother.
Hope to see you in the finals.
Sounds good. Back at you.
Yes.
Go Nugs.
Thanks for watching these ads and videos with us. If you have anything you'd like us to break down, let us know in the comments. See you all next time.